So firstly, why is it important to address this issue? I think it's important because of the significant impact it has on the health of either children or people in general, and also how it has the potential of impacting human capital or the quality of human capital of a particular country. We recognize that this may ultimately create a multiplier effect. So when people are unhealthy, this will impact overall productivity of a particular country, and it will further hinder economic activity and thus also hindering economic growth. And I'd like to kind of share a little bit of statistics that I managed to kind of read about. So the first coming from the Air Quality Life Index, saying that, the average global citizen exposed to particular pollution concentrations of over 3 times the WHO's guideline of 10 microgram per meter cubic. So this is something that we are currently facing right now. And also, secondly, 82% of the global population live in areas where the particulate matter is smaller than 2.5 micrometers, or PM 2.5, as we all know as well. And so this has the potential also, when we talk about pollution, it has the potential to reduce global average life expectancy by 2.2 years. So there is a significant impact when we speak of, air pollution and the consequences that it has on health. I also read up on some statistics from UNICEF, and maybe in a more localized context of Indonesia, air pollution is actually among the top 3 health risk factors for child mortality. And so the effects of air pollution on children, particularly on children's health, is very, very significant here in Indonesia. There are 2 reasons. The first being that, until the age of 12, our lungs, or the children's lungs, are not fully developed as yet. And also the second factor being that most children, spend a lot of time outdoors in comparison to adults. And so this may also have an impact on their health. The more that they are inhaling negative or polluted air, this will of course affect their health in general. And when we talk about polluted air, we're talking about the air full of combustion of fossil fuels, right? From whether it be coming from industries or energy sources, or also transportation. And this is really important. And when we talk about the policy, as you mentioned earlier, as well as being one of the questions, I'd like to share that on a national context, Indonesia has ratified the Paris Agreement. So we have ratified the Paris Agreement, and we also have what's called the nationally determined contribution, with the goal of decreasing greenhouse gas emissions by 29% and 41% with international aid. And this has been enforced by law number 16, year 2016. So we have some kind of a progress with regards to this. And also something that I'd like to share is that 30% of Indonesia's carbon emissions come from the energy sector, and 50%, roughly 50%, comes from the land use change, and forestry sectors. And so recognizing that this is the situation that we are currently dealt with, we have a target of achieving 23% renewables by 2025. And with that being said, because right now we're still at 13%, there's a lot that needs to be done. And given my role right now in Mission 11, overseeing the energy, research, innovation, and industry sectors, we're currently pushing and proposing a bill on renewable energy with the hopes that we can meet target faster, right? And so this is something that we're currently pushing. We're currently working alongside the government as well, particularly the Ministry of Energy in our country. And lastly, there are a couple of other existing legislations, but I'd like to also stress on on this last one, which is the Presidential Regulation number 18, year 2020, which talks about really just the National Midterm Development Plan between the years 2020 to 2024. And this is known as the low carbon development initiative or plan of Indonesia, and it has within the LCD. Within the energy sector particularly, it involves three core programs. So there's one on renewable energy, which is something that we're trying to push right now. There's also one on energy efficiency and also fuel oil substitution. So I think what I'd like to kind of share as well, given my work now in Parliament, is trying to really just push energy transition in our country. This is not as easy as it looks, because the fossil fuel industry is still dominating the energy space, and it has created multiple, an extensive multiplier effect when it comes to job creation. But what I'd like to stress in this occasion, and this is something that is ongoing with the government, is trying to kind of open everyone's eyes that, when we push for energy transition, this will create greener jobs, and thus will contribute in creating a more sustainable future for our country. I'd like to end by reminding everybody that this is a multi-sectoral problem which requires a multi-discipline solution. So the very essence of, we have in Indonesia what's called gotong royong. So gotong royong means collectively working together side by side in achieving a particular target. And what I'd like to kind of share with everyone here is to make sure that we understand where our role is, and to be open in joining hands and working together, and with the hopes that, with doing this together, we can have an optimal solution. The government has a role to play, legislators have a role to play, but also society, creating these movements and making this conversation becoming mainstream, and turning it into a more personal problem. This whole problem of climate change and air pollution is a very personal problem. And I feel like this is very much, it's not discussed enough, in my opinion, particularly with the current policymakers. So this is something that I'm trying to also discuss with my friends here in Parliament, with the hopes that this will push us in further fighting for the right solutions and pushing the right policies forward.
Thank you so much, the Honorable Dyah Roro Esti Widya Putri.